listeners. My name is Dawn Hughes, and I'm the new Booktrib Book Club Coordinator. We're here today with Sandra L. Rostirolla to talk about her gripping young adult novel, Making Friends with Monsters. It's the story of a boy who longs to chase everyone's personal demons away until a tragic twist of fate leaves him with a beast of his own. I get chills just reading that out loud. Making Friends with Monsters is one of the books taking part in Booktrib's book club program for June. Thanks for taking a few minutes out of what I'm sure is a very busy schedule for a bit of a rapid fire Q&A, Sandra.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dawn, and thank you, Booktrib, for having my book in your book club. I'm very excited.
We're excited too. We know readers are going to be excited. I know I just gave a little bit of blurb about the book, but I'd love if you could, without spoilers, tell us a little something about your novel that we wouldn't read on the jacket cover.
Yes, I was thinking long and hard about what that could be. Look, I think one of the relationships with our little 12-year-old Sam and what he goes through, one of the relationships I always want to talk about, but it's harder to talk about because dust jackets are short, is he has two love interests, and one is with a girl, which is his age, but the other is this love story, I guess we call it, with a biker. And that story is just so close to my heart because we have this biker who sees Sam, this little 12-year-old, potentially going down the exact same path he went down, and he doesn't want that for Sam at all. So he takes Sam, this rough, tough kind of guy, takes Sam under his wing to help him, deal with the monsters that Sam has and to get down on, to get onto the straight and narrow. And that's just a really lovely story. Side story in my book.
It sounds lovely. I'm tingling with it, with just thinking about that. That's fantastic. Did you have to, your book deals with mental health, that issue of mental health with youth, which is a heavy topic. What kind of research did you have to do for the book? And was there something surprising or really fascinating that you learned, or troubling that you learned while doing the research?
The research was all primarily 100% personal experience. My dad died by suicide when I was 13. I've had multiple friends die by suicide or by trauma. I had in high school 2 friends jumped off the Sydney Harbour Bridge. It was national news. My girlfriend was shot when she was only 16. Again, national news. I've had 2 brothers die by suicide. So in regards to the mental health aspect and what Sam goes through, a lot of people say to me, Sandra, with all the trauma in your family, how are you so grounded? I have a science background and I have read just a lot of books. I always read a lot of self-help, leadership books, anything like that. I used to be in leadership in a hospital. Right. So that's my research in regards to mental health. It is the personal experience that I went through that I just channeled into this novel for YA kids.
Did you find some of that writing to be cathartic for you?
I did. It's kind of interesting. Like I always thought that I was fine. And I have been. Like it's, I don't lay in bed crying or anything like that. But it is really interesting how much this journey has. I think because the biggest part is there's been such silence in my family about suicide. And I actually wrote a personal essay for Good Housekeeping, and they wanted me to talk about this whole aspect of silence surrounding suicide and how damaging that is. And it really, just up to this year, we still had a lot of silence in my family. And I kind of think this book has helped bridge all of that, not just for me, but for my family as well.
That's very lovely to hear. I'm sorry your family and you have had to go through so much of that, but I'm glad that it will be helping others along the way, your journey. This might seem like a redundant question then, but then obviously aside from a compelling read, what do you hope readers take away from this story?
Well, the fun part about my book, and I know it's tough to say that there is a fun part, everyone gets worried. They're like, oh, this is going to be such a dark story, but it isn't really. Sure, Sam goes through the ringer. It's like one blow after the other, but It's because that's what happened to me in my life. It was just one blow after the other after the other. Of course, I condensed the time frame a little bit because that's what you need in books.
Yeah.
But Sam goes along and he collects all these little facts about monsters, and there's 26 facts. And these facts are what I've been getting feedback with the readers, and that's what I wanted. That these little facts, like fact number 1, most people don't know monsters exist. Fact number 2, everyone has a monster. And he just keeps going along with these facts. And ultimately he learns that, look, you know what? It is totally okay to have the feelings that we have. You know, if we're angry, be angry. It's okay. Don't suppress. If we're sad, be sad.
Yeah.
If we're anxious, be anxious. Just don't let these emotions become you. Don't let them define you. We need to release our emotions. But if we bottle up and hold on to them, then that monster gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And the terminology I use is, if it gets too hungry, your monster can turn around and swallow you whole. And that becomes my metaphor for what I've experienced with suicide, with the monster just taking over.
Wow. That's inspirational as well as heartwarming. Thank you.
And the book ends with a whole bunch of hope. That's the other thing I want readers to know, is that while we go down this journey, everyone, all the comments I've had is, oh my gosh, I couldn't stop reading this story, and I was so surprised at just how much hope there was by the end. Because again, we're dealing with such dark topics, and that's what I want. I want people to feel like no matter how bad things are, there's going to be hope for you.
This is not your debut novel. You've written other books before. Who would you say as an author inspires you?
You know, I always come back to the one author, tad cliche, but it's for a different reason. My author is Stephen King, and it's not because of him as, you know, the books he's written or anything like that. It's because of his one book on writing. That's the book that was my inspiration, because honestly, I struggled. I'm a STEM girl. I'm a physics, chemistry, math. No, my teachers did not encourage my creative side at school. And it was reading on writing and Stephen King just talking about, you know, your toolbox, and whatever you have in your toolbox, you just, that's it. You just write to that level. And it just opened a door for me where I went, oh, I don't have to be able to write literary prose. I don't have to, you know what I mean? I had this concept that I had to be some amazing literary person, and I realized I didn't. And so he will always, that book will always be my number one of, he's my true inspiration, because he kind of gave me permission to write.
I read that book annually, not even, and listen to it on audiobook as well, once a year, for sure, because you're right, it does give you such great inspiration and motivation. And I think there's a message that applies to not just writing. You know, you can take that and apply it to anything you want to do, whatever you want to do. It's looking at the tools you have and applying those tools to your craft. So
exactly.
A different book, perhaps, or maybe not. What would you say is the best book you've read in the last year?
Oh, hands down for me, it's Turtles All the Way Down by John Green.
Really?
I mean, I loved that book. I really did. He's writing so visual. I don't know, have you read the book by any chance?
I've read all of his books except for that one. I have not read that one yet. So
yeah, his ability to just capture the OCD and the Ava, I think her name is, our protagonist, just what she's going through in regards to this compulsion that she's got, either a disease, and it's just, that was my standard. When I read that, I went, if I can write to that level and engage my readers to that level, then I have done my job. So yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. You just bumped that one way up on my TBR now. Thank you very much for that.
It's a great book.
I could talk to you probably all day, but I know I have to wrap things up. So I just want to take a minute to thank you again for taking time to talk with us.
You're welcome. And I'm just going to hold up my hardcover here that I have.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. For more information about Sandra's book, please check out the book club book page on the booktrib.com website. Thank you.
Thank you.